Hi, Pastor Nathan Decker with your hashtag Better Together devotion for today, and we've been talking about living the repentant life, the Christian life that's lived out through the grace and love that God has shared with us. And we've had to forgive ourselves. We've had to forgive those that we're closest to in our family. Being forgiven also means forgiving enemies. Forgiving people who have no intention of doing right by you. Forgiving those that are not looking out for your best interests. Jesus in the Gospels preaches and says, love your enemies. Love your enemies. Not just your friends. Anybody can love your friends. Anybody can love their family. Anybody can look out for their own, Jesus says. Even the Gentiles do that. He points that out to the Jews. But for us as a people of faith, we are to be distinguished by not just caring and forgiving of our own, but also for offering that same forgiveness, that same opportunity for those who have no interest in looking out for us, have no interest in our well-being, in fact, are opposed to our well-being. This is probably one of the hardest lessons that Christ offers us. To love those who persecute us, to love those who are not looking out for our best interest, to love those who would rather see us hanging on a cross, abandoned by all, than would rather see us die. Wait a minute, that sounds rather familiar, doesn't it? Jesus forgave his enemies. Hanging on the cross, abandoned by everyone, among a Roman government that was seeing him as a terrorist, a traitor, among a religious group of people who were supposed to be looking for him as the Messiah, but found instead that they didn't like what he was saying and rejected him. He was alone, nailed to the cross. And what was it he said? Father, forgive them. He forgave his enemies. He forgave us, his enemies. And in the same way, he said, love your enemies. Love those who persecute you. Bless them that taunt you. Find ways to offer goodness to them, because in doing so, we create a better world. In doing so, we do not create more blindness or darkness in the world, but we instead create light and sight and a new beginning, a new hope, a repentant world filled with life and change and transformation. We are forgiven. Because of this, we are called to forgive our enemies. And by doing so, we create a better together world.